You might be wondering if you can actually become a millionaire in Canada on a regular salary nowadays in this economy. And my answer is yes, it's absolutely possible, though granted it's much tougher than it used to be, and you need to strengthen your mindset to achieve that. Most people, including you, can reach the 1 million mark, and that's without winning the lottery, without marrying another millionaire, and without landing some six-figure job straight out of school. I'm talking about a realistic path towards $1 million that works for most Canadians earning a normal income. The median salary in Canada sits at about $63,400 a year. Note that the exact number will fluctuate a bit depending on assumptions and methods of calculations used, but this is roughly what a typical worker earns. So if you're earning somewhere around the $60,000 mark or even below it right now, stick with me. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what it takes and roughly how long it takes to get to 1 million. Quick disclaimer before we get into it, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I'm just a regular person walking you through the math and sharing what I've learned. The numbers I use are examples and illustrations, not guarantees, so please always consider your own situation and talk to a financial advisor if you need personalized advice. Okay, let's get into it. Becoming a millionaire in Canada comes down to 3 levers that you can control, plus one final factor that ties it all together. There's no secret stock, no specific product or expensive course that you need to buy to make this work. Let's start with lever 1. Lever 1 is earn. And I know that this sounds common sense, you need to earn money to get to any amount of savings. But fact is that many people stay stuck in a super low paying job for years, not realizing that it is truly costing them their financial future. While you don't need to earn a 6-figure salary to become a millionaire, your income does need to reach a certain minimum to make this even possible. Otherwise, none of the other levers will be of any use. Let's say you're earning $40,000 and you live in Toronto. After tax, CPP, and EI, you're left with around $32,500 a year, or roughly $2,710 per month in your pocket. Now, if you're living in a big city like Toronto or Vancouver and many other Canadian cities, your living costs will easily be around $2,650. That's a livable budget, but no frills. Basic budget for one person in Toronto. Sure, you can go lower than that and live on a super frugal budget, but you also need to account for emergencies and extra expenses that, as all of us know, come up from time to time. So $2,650 is not a splurge at all. If we do the math, you'd be left with about $60 a month. That's all that's left. I know that many of my viewers earn much more than this, but just in case this is you or you know someone in this income bracket, I want you to hear this. The problem here is not that you're bad with money or that you are irresponsible. The problem is simply that at this income level, the math doesn't work. You'll never get to that 1 million mark. There's simply nothing left over to get you there. So the first move before anything else is to close that gap. That usually means pushing your income closer towards that $63,400 median. If you earn just $60,000, that will leave you with about $1,254 per month. And there are only so many ways that you can do this. Either get a promotion or a raise at your current company, switch jobs or even careers and get to the next pay level, or picking up a side hustle and start earning additional streams of income. And yes, in many cases, it will take a couple of years to get there, and the process is uncomfortable. But if you want to get to that $1 million, you just gotta do it. When you just start building wealth, earning enough, or rather earning sufficiently above your expenses matters far more than picking the perfect stock or timing the market. You can have the highest performing stock that grows at 30% per year, but if you only have $60 to invest a month, then you'll never get far. To eventually become a millionaire, you need to make hard sacrifices up front. That means not only increasing your income, but also to save. And that brings me to the next lever, which is lever 2, save. And here's something that surprises a lot of people. Your savings rate matters more than your income. Someone earning $200,000 a year who has a 2% savings rate only is saving just $4,000 per year and is going to end up worse off long term than someone earning $60,000 with a 40% savings rate who effectively saves $24,000 per year. I know it sounds ridiculous, but the fact is that $1 million is built from what you keep, not from what you make. A 2020 2026 survey from H&R Block Canada found that 58% of working Canadians say that despite earning a decent salary, they still struggle to make ends meet on everyday expenses like groceries and gas, and 46% say that their paycheck only covers day-to-day living with nothing left over. So a bigger paycheck alone doesn't necessarily fix this. Part of this is, of course, a real challenge with the current living costs, where every time you go to the supermarket, something you used to buy is now 10% more expensive. But part of this is also connected to our own behavior, the daily decisions we make with our money and with our lifestyle. Oftentimes, a few meaningful tweaks can result in huge savings. There are two places to actually find real savings. First, the big expense categories: housing, transportation, and eating out. If you're only cutting your daily coffee, you're not going to move the needle. It's really the big decisions like downsizing your housing, splitting rent, or switching to transit that actually frees up real money. It might sting for a while, but tell yourself it's not going to be forever, just until you hit the next milestone. And second, and this one gets overlooked constantly, is taxes. You can reduce your tax bill by putting earned money into registered accounts like the RSP or FHSA. At the median income of $63,400, contributing the full 18% RSP room, which works out to about $11,412, generates a tax refund of about $3,384 at a 29.65% marginal rate. That's not extra income that you had to go earn. That's money the government hands you back. If you reinvest it, it becomes free extra principal working on your behalf. Note that the RSP may not be suitable for everyone, as it will depend on your strategy, including how much you earn now versus how much you expect to earn later. You can find out more about the RSP here. So if you can reduce your spending and save on taxes, then you could save a few $100s more per month and get closer, faster to your $1 million goal. Now, after you've optimized your savings, you want to make sure to activate the third lever. Lever 3 is invest, and this is where you grow the money you've worked so hard to earn and save. Let's continue to assume you earn $60,000. After basic living costs, your monthly investable surplus works out to about $1,254. Now, there are many different ways to go about investing it. To illustrate how big of a difference your investing decisions make, let's look at this example. If you leave that $1,254 a month in a regular checking account, earning 0.2%, which is quite generous already, then it barely grows. After 30 years, you'll get to $465,100, which is not bad, but it's basically just the amount that you put in and a bit more. If you put that same $1,251 a month into a 2% high-interest savings account, you'll be at over $600,000 after 30 years. If you put the same monthly amount into a 3% GIC, you'll have $411,000 after 20 years and $730,000 after 30 years. Now, if you invested the same $1,254 per month into an index fund that earns 8% each year, you will have almost $740,000 after 20 years and even $1.8 million after 30 years, far exceeding that 1 million target. I've plotted the same numbers on this chart, and you can see that the gap is massive. What you invest in matters, and the difference compounds over long periods of time. Now, note that the top line representing the growth of the 8% investment is an example only. It is not a guarantee. Past performance doesn't guarantee future performance. And I'm not saying that you should always choose the investment with the highest historical returns, because those come with higher risk as well. But sticking to safety, like a relatively safe checking account or a GIC, also has its costs, which is slow growth. The things you want to invest into is something to consider carefully and adjust to your own financial situation and risk tolerance. Now, if you want to see how different rates of return influence how much money you'll end up with, you can use my free compounding chart. It's a small thank you to you for watching my video and to those of you who've been following my channel all this time. It's totally free if you sign up to my mailing list down below. And don't worry, I will not spam you. I will only email you once or twice per month at the most, and only if I have something genuinely important to say. And also, please consider subscribing to my channel if you want to see more videos like this on how to actually grow wealth in Canada. Now, so far we've assumed a salary of $60,000, but how long does it take if you earn slightly less or slightly more than that, or save a bit less or more than that $1,200? Let's run the numbers. Could you still get to $1 million with a $40,000 salary these days? Probably, if you can be extra frugal and are willing to sacrifice even more. But if you're living, let's say, at a basic living standard of $2,650, then it's going to take a very, very long time. After taxes and everything, you'd only have $60 per month to invest. If you earn an average annual return of 8%, and again, this is just an assumption, not a guarantee, then it would take you close to 60 years to get to $1 million. After 30 years, you'd only end up with about $90,000. If you'd earned $50,000 and ended up with a $671 surplus each month, then it would take you 30 years to get to $1 million. At our original $60,000 income example, with $1,254 each month to invest, it would take you 23 years, 7 years faster. And if you continue to let it grow until you're 30, you'll have $1.87 million. Now, if you had a slightly higher income of $70,000, after taxes and living costs, you'll have almost $1,800 per month to invest. And at an average annual return of 8%, you'll need less than 20 years to get to $1 million. Keep that money invested and you'll get to $2.65 million after 30 years, becoming a multi-millionaire. This chart shows it even clearer. In your early years of investing, your salary matters a lot. Ceteris paribus, which means all other things remaining the same, you will get to your first million much, much faster with each $10,000 more that you earn. But remember, salary matters, sure, but it's really the savings rate behind it doing the heavy lifting. Remember that in all these examples, the living expenses remain the same at $2,650 and don't increase or undergo lifestyle inflation. Now you know the 3 levers, but there's one factor you need to know that changes everything and ties everything together, and that is time. Let's say that 2 people invest the exact same $1,254 a month at the same 8% return, both retiring at 65. One starts at age 25. The other starts at 35, just 10 years later. The person who started at 35 ends up with about $1.87 million. That 10-year head start more than doubles the final result, even though the total money they put in only went up by about a third. Starting at 25, you'd cross $1 million at around age 48. Starting at 35, that same milestone doesn't show up until around 58, which is about 10 years later. You see how the compounding really takes off in the latter part of the 30-year investment timeline? This is part of why Warren Buffett's fortune looks the way it does. Most of his net worth was actually built after he turned 50, not because his strategy suddenly changed, but because compounding simply needed decades to do its work. Delay is the one cost you genuinely can't make up for later, no matter how much extra you contribute afterwards. So if any of this has you thinking, okay, I need to actually start investing, this is usually the point where I get asked where to do it. I personally used Wealthsimple for investing for over 5, almost 6 years now, and in my opinion, it's the easiest platform out there for someone who's just starting out. No monthly fees, no trading fees on stocks and ETFs, and you can open registered accounts like the RSP, TFSA, FHSA, and others in a few minutes right from your phone. If you want to have full control over your investments and pay no management fee, it's important that you open a self-directed account instead of the managed investing option. You can start with as little as $100, and right now you can even get a sign-up bonus of $25 if you use my link or code down below. In case you're still unsure, consider just copy-pasting the link and code to your notes in case you want to use it later. And while we're on the topic of getting to 1 million, it's just worth mentioning that Wealthsimple at the moment has a monthly millionaire promotion. And no, it's not a lottery where you have to buy a ticket. I wouldn't recommend something like that. Instead, it's a draw that doesn't cost you anything. After you've signed up with Wealthsimple, you can register for free inside the app, upon which you'll receive 500 entries. Note that you do have to open and fund a checking account for that. Next, with every dollar you save, you can earn more entries. The great thing is that Wealthsimple is giving away $1 million every month. Example, in July this year, they had weekly cash draws where they first gave away $25,000, then $50,000, $75,000, $100,000, and then finally building up to a $1 million grand prize draw on the final draw. Then the whole cycle starts again the next month. Now, promos do change from time to time, so make sure that you read the fine print. And I want to be clear about something. This is a contest, not a strategy, and the odds work like in any draw. So although it's a fun way to get a no-cost chance to win $1 million, please don't count on it. The actual path to $1 million is everything we just walked through in this video, and that is consistent earning, saving, investing, and having patience to let your money compound. Full disclosure, I am not sponsored by Wealthsimple, but the link down below is an affiliate link, and if you use it to sign up and fund an account through it and get that $25 bonus, I too may earn a small commission. One more important thing on your journey to $1 million, and it's something super important that you cannot overlook. None of your efforts to grow wealth matter if one bad event wipes it all out. A fire, a flood, a burst pipe, a lawsuit. That's why tenant or homeowner insurance isn't optional, whether you're renting or you own. I personally use Square One for my property insurance. It protects your home against common perils such as water damage and theft, and that's important considering how often basements flood. And you do not have to use Square One specifically. There are many other good property insurances. The important thing is that you are covered. But what I like about Square One insurance is that it's fully customizable instead of a locked pre-built package. You choose your own coverage limits and your deductible, so you're only paying for what you actually need. Square One's policies protect most common personal property items, including laptops, smartphones, and furniture. You can even add coverage for specialty property such as bicycles or fine arts, for example, to your policy. You can get a quote, buy a policy, and even submit a claim all online from the comfort of your own home. You can pay monthly or annually, and there's no fixed term contract, so you're not locked in long term into anything. Square One caught my eye because its policies are really affordable. I pay only about $40 per month for our condo insurance. The exact amount will, however, depend on your property, whether you're renting, owning, and a lot of other things. But policies in general start as low as just $15 a month in many cases. So in case you're interested, you can also use my affiliate link down below to get a $20 credit incentive if you sign up. Full disclosure again, I am not sponsored by Square One, but I may earn a small commission if you use my link at no additional cost to you. Now let me know in the comments down below, where are you on this journey right now? Just starting out, halfway there, or already further along than you think? I would really love to hear from you. So to bring it all together, how do you become a millionaire in Canada in this economy with a regular salary? Earn enough to clear your basic living expenses first, ideally above $50,000 annually gross income. Save by cutting the big expense categories like housing, transport, not the little ones that don't matter that much. Use your RSP, if suitable for your financial situation, to get thousands back in tax refunds from the government. Invest the difference wisely. Don't let everything sit in a checking account doing nothing. Consider carefully how and how much money you can invest in index ETFs and other assets that are riskier but have a higher chance of earning a return above inflation. And start as early as you possibly can, because time is the one lever you cannot buy back later. On a completely normal Canadian salary, $1 million is not a fantasy. You can get there in 20 years or even in 10 years, depending on your choices. It's a timeline, and the sooner you start walking it, the sooner you get there.